there I am. Hello. Oh, I'm not muted. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the stream. I'm tucked underneath my my screen here. Hello and welcome, James Parnell. I just getting started wrapping things up. I feel I haven't used the actual. I'm still kind of small. Where am I? My actual chatting stream in a while. There we go. Make myself bigger. I've been. Oh, switching to Twitch. Look at that. Get myself bigger here. I haven't actually used my chatting screen in a long time. You will note it's. Oh, I'm so much bigger. It's a lot. It's my old overlay. I never got around to updating it. Because making this animated background was such a pain. I'm just like, I'm not gonna do it again. I'm not gonna make another animated background. By the time I want it, I'll be on to making a new background, a new layout. Maybe I'll look into there. Because I'm a little too big. It's because of my deep problem of animation software. There you go. Shake myself down. I figured based on the J. I'm not sure why, but the J gave me the right hint there. Welcome to the stream. I am freshly back from a week vacation with friends. Oh, Twitch is faster. Interesting. I've for the life of me, I've tried optimizing the delays between streaming, chat, and Twitch and YouTube, and like they're all set as fast as they can be, but it's still like a 5-second delay. It's kind of wild. I'm Sanish, your actually not corporately burned out. You're Sanish, returning from vacation, adult VTuber here Friday to talk about my recent trip, show some photos, chat about things, reflect on life, recover from 5 days solid of socializing. It was so much socializing. I'm gonna go over all that type of stuff. It's kind of fun. Mostly when I travel, I like taking photos. Then I like sharing the photos. And then I make, oh my gosh, so much. I'll get into the grass touching. Don't worry. So many photos. So I guess I got started. I got back 2 hours ago. Oh. So 2 hours ago, Jesus Christ, I got back from, I started this morning at my friend's very boomer parents' house in Vancouver, Washington. Not Vancouver, British Columbia. The bad Vancouver. Vantucky, as we generally call it. And so going from a extremely boomer McMansion style house to like coming home to my like 750 square foot condo to get ready to stream, I'm just like, these are two separate worlds. And it's kind of getting me a little bit of tonal whiplash, but I'll get into it. So this week I was at adult summer camp. Woo! Which is not an official thing or actually a business or a licensed venture. Essentially, one of my friends was like, I want to just go somewhere cool for a week with friends in the summer. And then we branded it Adult Summer Camp. And kind of the vibe was, how can we recreate that feeling of childhood summer as adults? So what we did for our Adult Summer Camp is we went to, we picked a general area. We said the Perseid meteor showers are August 10th, 11th, whatever Monday, Tuesday was. Where can we go that's going to have dark and clear skies that we could just go hang out at for a couple days? And so we narrowed it down. We're in the rainy side of the mountains here in Western Washington. So we had to go all the way over the mountains to the eastern side. And we made a list of Airbnbs, we investigated, and we ended up in a cabin on a river near Leavenworth, Washington. Leavenworth, Washington is a small German-themed town. I had this deep question when we were in this German town of like, how much is this like actually German-themed, or just like offensively German? Like, do Germans come to Leavenworth and be like, yeah, this is all very offensive and wrong? Could be. But we went there for the weeks. We were there Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Yeah, we have, and it's one thing I've noticed. I pointed to my friends as we were driving around. I've become so normalized to the landscape and the mountains of the Pacific Northwest that I forget that they are unusual. Like not everyone has like these steep sheer mountain ranges and like dramatic scenery and like volcanoes and cool ocean, like mountain rivers. I'm like, oh, this isn't normal. So we got Airbnb. There was 5 of us total, 2 couples and myself. And we just kind of hung out for a couple days. It's kind of like, we actually had like this huge list of things we wanted to do. And then like, we got through like 10% of it. Cause like, we weren't trying to like force anything or like schedule things. We're just trying to like, just hang out and vibe for a couple days. It was really nice. Well, a recent development in my life in the last 5 years that I've discovered is that if I'm a passenger in a vehicle, I get car sick really easily. I used to be like ironclad, like mountain roads, flashing lights, you name it. I could like play my Game Boy or read a book in the car. But now I'm like, whenever I'm the passenger, I'm on any sort of road that's not just like perfectly dead straight or like a 30-minute ride, I start getting car sick and it gets bad. And I was a passenger in my friend's car in the Subaru. And the drive was like winding mountain highways. It was 95 degrees outside. It was 95 degrees Fahrenheit, winding mountain highways. I was in this back seat and I'm like, I am going to die back here. This is it. I had a good run and this is where I call it quits. And then my friend's wife in the front seat was also getting car sick. And we're all getting car sick in this car. So that's a recent development in my life that I'm coming to terms with, because I don't like driving, but I also don't like being car sick. I did volunteer and I did 5 of the 7 hours driving yesterday and today, just so I didn't get car sick. I'm like, I'm tired and my eyes are sore and I might get a headache, but it's better than being car sick. So we got car sick there. I recovered pretty quickly, which is nice, but man, it is scenic mountain highways, gorgeous mountain ranges. You can see lovely road. It's all very, very pretty and all that. I'm just like in the back seat, head clutched in my hands going like, GPS, it says 20 minutes for the last half hour. Oh, when will we get there? So we got to a lovely place and I have a bunch of photos. Whoa. Oh, okay. I have like 8 photos, not a bunch. Let's start. Let me start what the river looks like. Let's go with. Yeah, this is when I have my thumbnail. Oh, that's actually a pretty good place. Let me scoot myself over a little bit. This was where we stayed. Not where we stayed. This here is the looking upriver from where we stayed. So we have I can't get my mouse over this. It was, the first day was 95 degrees. The second day was 100 degrees. It was toasty warm in these our mountains. But we had like, essentially the cabin looked out on this river, technically a lake, I think, 'cause there's a dam, looked out on this river and no one else around. Like there was one neighbor you could see over here in the right corner. But it was like a 4-bedroom, 3-bath cabin that is just, it had some, most Airbnbs had some issues, wasn't perfect, but like big kitchen, so we could just like spread out, hang out. Like we on our first day we arrived, we all got there, the other couples got there, and we're like, well, let's go into Leavenworth. And we just like drove ourselves like 10-15 minutes into Leavenworth being a bucolic German town who I have no photos of. And we went into probably the best restaurant in Leavenworth. If anyone listening is considering a trip to Leavenworth, I did Blue Sky # Leavenworth just to see if that drives any traffic. Munchin House is a sausage restaurant in Leavenworth. Oh God, this Huckleberry rolled in. Went to Munchin House the first day, and Munchin House, I've only been to Leavenworth twice. Oh, this guy got, okay, I'm just gonna say it. Someone got into the water and then like didn't really shower afterwards, kind of hosed himself off, and he's like, I'm a river man now, and he like refused to bathe. We put him in the back seat as much as possible. He never left. He's still there to this day. We went to Munchin House, which is the best restaurant in The best restaurant in Leavenworth just sells, essentially, it's sausages. They sell sausages and beer. And it's like, if you're in Leavenworth in a German town, what more do you need? What more? Like, this trip was all about a couple things: vibing with friends and making poor dietary choices. And those dietary choices where it's like, it was meat, it was beer, and it was potato chip snacks and candy. Like, that's what I ate for 3 days. And it was so good. They didn't have shit. So I had like the cheddar jalapeno bratwurst, and then what I had the second time, an amber lager bratwurst sausage. And then my friends had like the vegetarian options, some had the chicken options. Some got a potato salad, which like sounded nice. It was cold. It was 100. Like, I need to emphasize that, like, I'm not built for outside. I have the build that says this man has never seen the sun in his life. He doesn't exercise, and he has the approximate weight of a paper bag or a dried out twig. I think some like, that's true. No, I'm not built for it. But I'm definitely not built for it. I'm not used to it in the slightest. I'm like, it rained today. So I got home and it was like a little chilly outside. I'm just like, I did that thing. You look at the rain forecast and you're like, oh, we needed this. And so we had beer, we had brats. It was great. Then we went back. And it was a good first day. A good first day to recover from car sickness. There was a fudge store down the block, like a short walk from us. So we ended up getting a bunch of fudge and candy from it. And like, not just like generic fudge, but they had homemade fudge, or restaurant made fudge. They had a shack building that was labeled fudge. That was like the fudge shack, which is a little suspicious, but we're just gonna ignore that. That's too hot. 110, too hot. 150, isn't that how you bake bread at that temperature? You're like slow cooking something at 150. But this fudge store we asked them, you do the thing where you're like, oh, what's the most popular fudges, or the most popular, ice cream parlor. What's the favorite ice cream? And you know that like half the time, you're gonna get actual recommendations. They're gonna say like, it's the Rocky Road, or it's the peanut butter. And then half the time, they're just gonna give you like, the recommendation, quote unquote, is like the item that is not selling that day. I'm like, we need to clear out this fudge, tell everybody it's the best. It's all back. They had a watermelon fudge. They had it was green and pink. It was a sweet, of course, it was sweet fudge, but it tastes like watermelon candy in fudge form. I don't know how they did it. I'm not sure what black magic they turned to, but they gave us like a sampler taste, and it was one of those things you eat it and you're like, this watermelon fudge is really good, I can only eat this sampler's worth. If I eat any more than this little bit of watermelon fudge, I'm pretty sure my entire digestive system will shut down and revolt for the pure unfettered sugar I just put in my body. There's photos here. Here's looking dead out into the river from our little Airbnb. Oh, what am I scooting? So it's what's I going? This one. I just loaded a bunch of photos. I'm like, I'm just gonna go through these photos and make everybody look at them. This is looking at the back deck. I think the back deck. I wish I had like a laser pointer. You're welcome to my PowerPoint slideshow. I'm a VTuber. I could have made it as a PowerPoint. We see these mountains, there's sun, it's 95 degrees. You're sweating. Our Airbnb was advertised as being air conditioned, and that was one of my, like, I had two hard requirements going into this. I'm like, my lodging requirements are: 1, I need my own bathroom and bedroom. Number 2, it needs air conditioning. I don't think I can. Anyway, and their air conditioning, again, 4-bedroom, 2 floors, 3 baths, 1 mini split in the living room. That was their air conditioner. And by God, that air conditioner struggled. hardcore struggled. I was downstairs, so it was a little bit better. But my friends upstairs, they did not care for that. So we'd all essentially gravitate consciously or unconsciously to they had this huge kitchen table, and we'd all sit there because that was right underneath the mini split. Or people would just run as mud people and just jump straight into the river. Because the banks of this is a mountain stream. It's glacially fed. Well, look at the picture. There's no glaciers. It was glacially fed at some point in its life. The mud on this bank is a type of mud where you step in and you sink a good 4 inches. And it's like that fine silt mud that just like squeaks through everything. I brought my Crocs as my water shoes, which are sandish eye green Crocs. And I just put my feet in, and like I lost my Croc in that mud. I was like 3 inches of water. I stepped in and I went to step out and my Croc stayed behind. I was like, this is unfortunate. I didn't actually go full body into the water because I'm not a big water person, which is funny. So I actually I'm thinking about getting my scuba certification. So I I did scuba diving once and I enjoyed it because you don't have to talk to anybody. But swimming, not really. Oh yeah, that's the other problem. This bank was like 4 feet of underwater, 4 feet of underwater plants, but it was crystal clear, so you could see what they were. I didn't touch them. I didn't go in the river. I looked at it. I appreciated it from a distance. I'm like, that's a handsome river there for somebody else to go into, not me. And my friends went in, they paddleboarded, they swam, they mostly they paddleboarded and swam. But the two paddleboards that brought, they forgot to bring their paddles. So one person used 2 frisbees a little bit, and friend's wife, she's found a really big stick on the banks and using the stick to paddle her paddleboard like a kayak. And she made impressive distance using just a stick. I was very impressed by using her stick paddle. Lost track of there. So the main reason we came out here, another thing. So I live in the city. Shock, surprise, gasp. Our wildlife here in the city consists of rats. I saw a rat the other day. We have rats, we have pigeons, we have crows, occasional seagull, raccoon if you're lucky. This place had way more actual wildlife. I think on that first day, we saw some beavers. There's a zoomed in shot of there was about 3 beavers that were swimming about in the evenings. You can see like this little ear head, kind of not a very clear photo. I took it with an iPhone and I zoomed in a lot because I was on the deck. There's 3 beavers that were swimming back and forth. We're like, oh, look, there's normal beavers. And our one friend, she's a vet at a zoo. And she's like, oh yeah, beavers have been known to bite femoral arteries and murder people. So we're like, that's a cute beaver we're gonna keep our distance from. And they were like slapping the water with their tails at one point, I think. Or that was a fish jumping, I wasn't sure. Wildlife, man, who knows? And so we have some beavers. There was at least one bald eagle flying about. Oh, why are you over there? Umbrella. So we had a bald eagle. Zoom in on this bald eagle. Enhance. So there's bald eagle flying about. And that's, oh, you can't see me. That's one thing about, Sorry, it's me starting with YouTube Studio. That's one thing about this is weird with me in front like this. Oh, you can see that my head doesn't actually connect through. That's interesting. 1 second. I need to move myself. There you go. There's bald eagles. That's a crow. Probably. We kept asking our one animal specialist, like, is that a raven? Is that a raven? And she never said yes. There's a good probably 10 feet between this crow and this raven. But we had this bald eagle flying around, nesting. We saw him catch a fish, and he carried a fish to the shore, and just like ate the fish. And then later some turkey vultures came in, and it ate the leavings of Mr. Bald Eagle. So we had a bald eagle flying around. We had, let's get my river back. I like this river. Let's go to this river. We had a black bear walking across the far shore. We had beavers, black bears, eagles, fish, obviously fish. There's a third animal we saw. Bats. We had bats flying around at night. There's something else. Oh yeah, there's ducks and geese, but like I don't really count those so much. Beaver. I think the beaver, the bear, and the eagle were the big ones. To be fair, we do get bald eagles in the city. So like I've seen bald eagles in the city before, so that one is like a little less exciting. Beavers were the new one. Like for some reason, I did not know beavers was going to come across as problematic. You're going to clip this and I'm going to get canceled. I didn't know beavers lived outside of Canada. I just kind of assumed they only lived in Canada. Turns out they live in America as well. I learned something this weekend about beavers. 1, they can murder you by biting your arteries. 2, they live in America. Who knew? I didn't. We did not see an actual beaver dam though, but we did see a human-made dam, and I kind of wonder if the beavers were like appreciated the human-made dam. Like, that's a nice, you know what? You guys got this. You got this dam work done. Just throw some beavers out the back of a plane. But the main reason we came here was to get clear night skies to look at the Perseid meteor showers. Which, it's funny because like I essentially have an astrophysics degree, and I've taken a lot of astrophysics and astrology courses in my career, and my research was in like space sciences and geophysics, but like I don't actually go out and do much stargazing. So this was the time like, okay, this time I'm actually gonna go do some actual stargazing. We're gonna go do it, everybody. And we're so excited. We got the timing right. And then we looked at the time and it's like, oh, the Perseid meteor shower, at the peak, you will get 1 meteor per minute. I'm just like, seems low. 1 per minute? We did not bring a telescope because none of us own telescopes. I owned a telescope in the high school and never used it. I just, something about it never really, I tried. I'm like, it's one of those hobbies that I'm like, I had in my mind that, oh, I'm definitely like an astronomer telescope person. That's definitely like who I am as a person. That's part of my identity. And then I tried it. And I'm just like, I'm not really into this. I'm not as much into this as I think I should be. It kind of one of those like self-images that once the rubber meets the road, you realize, oh, that's actually not me. You know, like you think it's you and then you try it out and you're like, I'm not into telescope. I like the idea a lot. I do. I really do. But having a telescope and then going out at night when it's cold or nighttime or outside, not as much. Now, what I did bring is I brought my tripod and my regular travel camera and did some night photography. 1, do night photography. 2, try to capture meteors, which I discovered is challenging to do. When meteors can be any part of the sky, and you have a lens that can only capture, let's say, 20 degrees of the sky at once, trying to get the camera in the right time, during the right exposure, to try to capture a meteor is hard. It's hard. And every time, I swear to God, I was out there with my little tripod, taking photos of the sky. Every goddamn time a meteor went by, my friend would be like, hey, Sanders, did you get that one? Every single time. I'm not saying I want to murder my friend and throw his body into the river, but the opportunity was there, and I had a bludgeon in the form of a tripod. And long exposure shots is what I did. So here's the first long exposure I'll show. Hopefully Twitch doesn't botch. Hope Twitch and YouTube don't botch my colors. This is a night shot of the night sky. Obviously night sky. There was one cabin across the way, which is in the lower right-hand corner. Oh man, on one monitor, this looks fine. Then I look at my shitty monitor to my right that I use for OBS. isn't really has terrible color rendition, and this photo looks terrible. Let me open up Twitch here to see how it looks. You know what? Twitch and YouTube, credit where credit's due. They're not blowing up the colors. So this is one of the I did a lot of night photography in college. Yeah, no, I just checked. It looks fine. It's just my cheap ass Asus monitor on my right here, where it's just like everything below the midpoint of this photo is just like solid black. There's like no, like this is a $100 monitor I bought because it was white and I just needed something to hold OBS in. But occasionally I look at them just like, those colors are shit. So on my main monitor, it looks fine. I did a lot of night photography in college, some in grad school, and a bit scattershot here and there. The thing I forgot about, so I haven't done it in a while, and I got a new camera. I got a brand new camera, got my tripod, went out there. I forgot how difficult it is to actually set the proper focus and the proper exposure levels for night photography, because you have to go essentially full manual mode. So getting the right like ISO, shutter speed, aperture, and focus, you have to all just like manually set, and your camera's like, I don't know, man, it's hella dark out here. Good luck, my buddy. So I ended up doing like 30-second exposures. So for example, for this photo, all the mountains in the background, those are all illuminated by moonlight. Those are not illuminated by sunlight. That is the full moon landing on the mountains across the way, and then the night sky. I was 2 minutes would have been a long time. I didn't have set up, I didn't have a remote setup. So for some of these, I was just manually holding down the bulb for 30 seconds to test out the exposures before switching to the actual like preset 30 seconds. So I just didn't really want to get star trails, you know? Also, I had some settings on my camera not optimized, so that it was having some undue processing time. Apparently on the Fujifilm cameras, the clarity setting and there's a long exposure noise reduction setting really cause it to like take its sweet ass time processing photos. But I fixed it now for the future. This is what I liked. I like getting like the cabin. We thought there was like this abandoned cabin across the way. And if we go to, you can see it here. It's in the right of the frame. The tiny, right, kind of where like my hair is pointing, right there. There's a little photo. There's a cabin that looks kind of abandoned, but I saw someone paddleboard up to it. Then at night we would see some light coming off of it. And later on, like the second or third day, someone was flipping through the guest book, and someone wrote in the guest book in 2024, they're like, hey, we stayed here and we loved it so much that we bought the cabin across the river. If you see us, wave and say hi. And it was like, someone actually lives there. It's not just like a abandoned thing. My friend wanted to like fly a little drone over to take a look, and we're like, don't fly a drone in someone's house. Please don't do that. Don't do that. This is my first night photo. Once I got the focus down and then the exposure down, it got a lot easier. And then we got, oh, this is a big photo. This is looking at other mountains. I think what I like about night photos, we're shrinking down. It's almost, honestly, it's almost like my actual background. I could just make it indistinguishable. I just like how the landscape and the landscape of things look. Duck down here. Let's move it up a little bit. On long exposures at night, I do, like, as I said, do the undergrad where I do HDR photos, or do like, 5-minute exposure, 2-minute exposure, 30-second, 15-second, 1-second exposures, and composite them together. This is when HDR was brand new. But that way you get like the sky, you can get like the water smoothed out, but you can still get the lights from like college dorms or other things. I like this one because I think the blue the night sky came out well. He said having edited the sky to make it blue. Haha. Oh, here's one where I actually caught a meteor. Let me shrink it down here. Should I just move it down? That worked pretty well. Uh-oh. Ha! There we go. I got the right layer. Keep that lock. Unlock that. Lock that. There you go. Ha! So I got two things here. One, I have the... Obviously. For those unused to long exposure night photographs, this red to my right, on the right of the photo here, that's an airplane. This is an airplane beeping its little light as it flies across the sky. There's some flight path that goes north of Leavenworth, probably from SeaTac or Vancouver, north of Leavenworth. So we saw some planes flying across. But upper top corner, which is right here, right by my left, right by my right ear, like right there. One tiny meteorite. Now, there was a couple small ones like this, but there's also like the Perseids had some like big fireballs that were just like bright colored streaks across the sky that looked super cool, but I couldn't get it on camera no matter how many times my friend asked me, did you get that one? Did you get that one? Did you get that one? Spend 5 days with somebody and you're just like, whoa, how do you dispose of a body? I think that. So that one. I like this. Is probably my favorite of them that came out. Oh, I have this labeled as night 2. I have like 5 more night ones. Up. What's this one? And then, I like this one also. This is looking up the valley. Oh, what am I moving? Why? Sorry. There we go. This is looking up the valley. So this is looking up the river valley. Kind of capturing some of the trees and the kind of the general night moodiness. What we didn't realize, like, I kept seeing these clouds in the photo. So like halfway in the photo, you're seeing some like light clouds that are illuminated by the moonlight. There was a full moon, which is kind of part of the challenge. But as we learned in the afternoon of the next day, that, my friends, was not clouds. That, my friends, was smoke. On our third day in the afternoon, a bunch of smoke rolled into Leavenworth. Like, did I put a smoke photo here? I didn't. I'm used to, unfortunately, at this point in my life, I'm used to smoke. I grew up in California. We had fire season. Went to school in Southern California. I watched the hillsides burn and professors lose their homes. I've had ash falls as a weather event in my life multiple times. I've had dense smoke coming in from different directions. So I'm used to smoke. And, it's like smog. This turned out to be smoke. Like, all this smoke just rolled in. It just rolled in. We had to retreat inside. It was like, my eyes are still recovering from it. And then later that, like, we walked in, we went to a restaurant in Leavenworth, and we stepped out afterwards. The sky was full of smoke. This hot wind had picked up, and it was a strong wind that was like pushing signs over, loose gravel and pebbles getting picked up off the ground and hitting like our legs and actually like stinging and hurting from the wind just like pelting us with debris. And there's this moment of just like, well, firestorm's coming. Buckle up. It was fine, but it was a rough, not a rough, but just like a lot of smoke. So that was smoke. Haha. And last one. This is looking up towards the house. Are you the right photo? Nope. Am I resizing the right thing at OBS? So this one is actually looking towards the Perseids. The Perseids being... It's funny because, like, when you're looking through naked eye, you don't see most of these stars, so it's really easy to identify the actual star formation. But should be looking at Cassiopeia, and the Perseids are originating kind of like middle lower part of the frame behind the hillsides. And smoke. Thanks, smoke. And then I did some Sanish deep field photos. Just looking straight up. This is like once you get your when you get your focus and exposure right, you can get some like nice straight up photos. But it's like the trick. You can see kind of some of the Milky Way, I think, at the top there. 30 seconds is about as long as you could do handheld. Oh, not handheld, with a tripod. anything longer for night photography or astrophotography, you need a tracking tripod. So you need a tripod that can actually like slowly moves with the stars. Otherwise the stars will get a little bit smeared. And I had so many photos I deleted where I could see where I pushed the shutter and let go, because there's just like one little like quick blip line on each star when the whole camera shook a little bit, or I'd accidentally bump it or something had happened. It's a pair of long-term photography. I got these ones, and this is a little bit blurry on this one, but that's fine. It's a fine blur. But it's fun. It's fun practice. I still think that like I like doing long exposure photographs, but I almost kind of like doing them in urban environments. I mostly only like doing photography and photos when I'm by myself. I don't really like doing it in groups, which is fine. This year was fine. I was just taking them and I was getting heckled by Peanut Gallery. We're all laying they were laying on like their inflatables, or someone was laying on like their inflatable paddle boards to look up at the sky, and just heckling me, just giving me a hard time, which is fine. Who else could do that but friends? Really? Okay. So that was one of the main things going to the Perseids. The other thing on the first day, second day, doesn't really matter, we went tubing down the river, which is my first time ever tubing on a river. I've not done it before. It was, the first 2/3 were nicer than I expected. The last third, I was probably ready to be done. I got ready, I put on my little short bathing suit, slathered my legs in sunblock. I have a reef shirt, so I have a long sleeve SPF 50 shirt I wear whenever I go in any sort of body of water. So I was only it has a little collar, almost like my Spanish collar, really. It's like such to my neck and face. I'm just covering in sunblock. I'm afraid of the sun. Got my wrists and my hands that are exposed. Just everything is absolutely covered. And one side note, this year, I started shaving my legs for the first time. I did it for a maid outfit costume in March. And I just realized I like it a lot better than not shaving my legs. One part I've always hated about sunblock my entire life was that feeling of applying sunblock to areas with body hair. So if you have any sort of hair on your legs or arms and you've applied sunblock, there's that feeling, at least for me, of applying sunblock to the hairy areas that just feels absolutely awful. It's like a tactile sensation that I just I just hate so much. I just hate it so much. So this is the first time I shaved legs applying sunblock. I'm like, this is a lot easier. This isn't as awful an experience as just applying lotion. Oh wow, this could have been nice for this whole entire time. But you couldn't really 2006, you can't be hey guys, let's shave your legs because you think it feels better. That wasn't on the table. That wasn't an option in that time period. The other thing I was impressed by, nail polish almost survived the entire trip. Pleased about that one. So I sunblocked up. We got ready. We estimated it's about an hour tube on the river. We get there. We park, they drive us up, watch the safety video. They drive us about 2 miles upriver, huck us out with our inflatables, with our little floaties, and let us float off there. And it was 100 degrees outside. 100 degrees, which I'm emphasizing this a lot because my normal temperature I live my life in is a band between 52 degrees and 68. That's where I spend 95% of the year. And I'm happy in that temperature. That's a temperature. That's why I live in the Pacific Northwest, because I like my little narrow band of temperature. Cool gray weather. Give me a little moisture, a little bit of rain maybe. Give me 3 sunny days a month. And you know what? Pleased as punch. Just pleased as punch. 100 degrees. My friends were very excited. They were super excited. I'll do tubing. I'll tough it up. I'll suck it up and I'll do it with them. And I had a good time. Now, So one part of this trip, I'm going to not say it like, I keep saying trip and trolley, triggering trip when I say trip. Because I don't know the policies on the platforms I stream on, but part of this was ingesting substances such as, but not limited to, alcohol during the trip. And some people were doing different choices along the river for floating. I did not for the river part, but others were. And so it was fun. We just kind of got on the river and you kind of slowly float down it so our 1 hour trip took 3 hours. Like the first half was pretty good. It was like a good speed. It was good speed on the, like, we're floating. We had like floaty. We had like 2 frisbees to like self paddle and steer, which is kind of a funny way to go about it. And it was kind of fun at first, like spin around and move around with little frisbees. But like by the end, paddling with frisbees hurts your hands. It hurt my hands. And probably for me, like the most shocking thing for me is like, generally speaking, I've talked about this on stream. I'm Aero Ace. So like, I'm generally speaking, like I see people, I can be like, oh, sure, that person is conventionally attractive. Or like, oh, that's like, that person like looks nice. Or like, I see my friends like, oh, my friend is objective. I think like, you can appreciate that your friend is like pretty and you're like, oh, you look really nice in those clothing, right? So it's very rare for this to happen to me. I'm not sure, based on like media, I'll see what happens to more people. I just saw someone who was like distractingly attractive. And it was like the start of the float. And I was like, this only happens like once a year. So I was just like, what is this person doing in Leavenworth floating in a float? But they were on a date and they had like, so we had individual floaties. They had like tandem floaties, which are like 2 donuts like welded together. And so it's funny seeing like this person who I thought was just like distractingly attractive and their date, they got in at the same time of us. And like, we were just like, we're going slow, but we were going at like, if I hold on the side here, we were going at a clip. They just like booked it down there. They were gone. And it's one of those, I got the sense of, it's one of those feelings like, do you sometimes see people on a date in public and you can tell that like, it's over. You can tell like, maybe they aren't having a good time. Like that was kind of the sense I got here. It was like, this was a date where they maybe weren't having a good time and they were kind of like going a little faster to like push through it, which is one of the, it didn't happen on this river, but growing up, my parents liked to kayak. And like every weekend in the summer, they would drag me out from my little computer den, away from my Super Nintendo and my N64 and my computer trying to play Baldur's Gate and be like, we're going to go kayaking for a family trip. It was a big day commitment. And one of the like, oh yeah, let me ban somebody real quick. Yep. One of the fun things, which I didn't pick up quite as much as, like I got a little bit of it, but now as an adult, I can greatly appreciate it. We would kayak near some of these like canoe rental places and we would see people who obviously never canoed before going down rivers in canoes with like, it'd be like a frat guy and his date. And like the frat guy would be absolutely pink from sunburn. This date would not be sunburned, but she's obviously not having a good time, or they'd crash their canoes and spill all their ice chest of beer everywhere. Oh, it was great. It was great. I see why my parents did it. I understand now. But unfortunately, we were in that flock of rental floaties. So there's no crashing, but there's definitely some people having more fun than others. And so we floated down, drank some seltzers. Not hard, I didn't even actually, I said regular seltzers. Had some rapids. My friends went in the water. They hopped in, they hopped out. Struggled to hop back in sometimes. Saw some fish in the river. It was hot, but like your butt's in the water and the water wasn't cold. I think that's a very important thing to mention for anyone who's familiar with mountain rivers. Usually these rivers in the Pacific Northwest are like the iciest, coldest bodies of water you've ever encountered in your life because it's a glacial melt. It is like literally ice has freshly melted and you are putting your body into it, but all the glaciers are melted. So this water was actually kind of like a bit warmer than we wanted it as we're flowing down with our butts submerged in these little floaty donuts. We floated down. About 2/3 through, I was kind of done. And then the last stretch of the river is where every family decided to put in and beach themselves and hang out on the river with their floaties with their 3 million children. And it's just families. It's a place to have fun with families. It's a family sort of thing. I understand it. But as an adult who does not like children, I was just like, we were in this stretch at the river. It was like the slowest part of the river as well, which made it worse. And like all these kids about, all these families, some are playing music. They're just like standing in the middle of the river at this narrow slow point. And me and my one friend, we're booking it. We're just like paddling with our frisbees as fast as we can to get through. We're both just like done and over it. But once we broke free of those children, the cacophony of sound, the river quieted out again. I parked myself on a rock to wait for everybody else who didn't book it through the children. That part was like a moment of pleasantness. But it's always like a case of, you guys, like, maybe you don't like children, and maybe you don't like, you're not a big fan of pets. That's fine. It's fine. You accept it about yourself. You accept. That's why you live alone in a condo, because you don't want any of those things. So it was fun. We played a couple games. We played some board games. It's always funny because like two of my friends, so it's like my two male friends and their wives, who, I mean this in the most generous and genuine way possible. Their wives are more interesting than them. I said it. In case they're watching the stream, I'll stand by that statement. Fight me. Their taste in music, I think the two of them bond a lot over shared musical tastes, which aren't my musical tastes. Like, we have some edges of our musical tastes overlap a little bit, but not much. So they're playing music the whole time. And I'm like, every now and then I recognize a song, but generally speaking, it was like some things outside my wheelhouse. But one of them, they're big fans, and they might be here listening. They are big fans of the Decemberists. Both of them just love the Decemberists. And I didn't think, like, I knew this. Like, they go to the concerts, they have the merch. I'm like, fine, you know what? You love a band. Wonderful. What they brought out, which I don't know why, like, I should have seen this coming. I should have seen this coming years away. Absolutely years away. But, like, apparently the Decemberists collaborated. Decemberists are from Portland, Oregon. This is a fact I learned this weekend. That makes a lot of sense. There's like a lot of pieces come together here. They collaborated with a board game designer and made a Decemberist board game that we played, which apparently they like esoterica, and it was like very like tarot card, Ouija board kind of vibe, like a cult vibe board game. And like I think I got a shitty, like, you're playing a game. When you play a game for the first time, and the first time you play, you get like a shitty ass hand, and it's like, it just feels bad to play. But like by the end, I'll say I started to enjoy it. Apparently it's similar to another game called Casino. I think that's what it's called. I never played before, heard about. The game's called Illimat. Let me just fact check myself real quick. Illimat. Yeah, Illimat. ILLIMAT. Honestly, kind of fun. You have like essentially cards on the table, and you're trying to like gather cards and points by like playing things. Like there's 4 fields, and they're in different seasons, and by playing like different season cards, like if you use like the King of Summer to claim cards off the board, it changes that field to summer. And there's like tarot cards that flip over. I started, I warmed up to it. I admit I was a bit cranky when I first started playing it, but I got better. So that was interesting. But then I brought out, I own one board game. I've talked about it on stream. One of my friends even said, I tuned in last week and heard you talking about it on stream. I have a Rio Grande game called Bonanza that's about bean farming, that everybody always looks skeptical when I say, let's play this bean farming game. And then by the end, everyone is like, we're buying our own copy of the bean farming game. And this weekend was exactly the same. I got them to play it. They liked it. and they got into bean farming. Though one individual had some dosages kick in during our game of bean farming when he suddenly found some of the bean art very amusing. He still won though, which is kind of insulting. So we played some board games. We were gonna like watch bad movies. Oh, viticulture? It's nothing like viticulture if you're thinking about viticulture. It's not fields like viticulture. It's just like a board bisected into 4 squares. And it's like, this field is like, you turn forward 3 cards face up in this field, and you rotate the block in the middle that represents summer. I would say it's nothing like viticulture, other than like they have fields. I guess bean farming also had fields. So it was a very farming heavy game this weekend. Like some of the plans we didn't do. We were going to watch a bunch of bad movies. And so, or not bad movies, but like cult classics, or like, we have some, you know, you have friends, right? You over the long term, you always like bring up movies, and you're always like, oh, you haven't seen this movie, or oh, you haven't seen this movie. And so this weekend we were going to rectify some of that and like watch some of these movies that the other people haven't seen. We watched 0 movies because it was 3 nights, and it turns out, I think in all of our heads, this was like a 7-day trip. It was a 3-day trip. Next year, we're probably gonna do longer and fill in some of those gaps. We were gonna go drive to Wenatchee to see the Naked Gun movie. We didn't do that. We didn't have time to do that. We mostly just vibed and hanged out, which was lovely. But I was coming to these trips with friends. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get so blasted. I'm going to drink so much. And I get there and I'm like, I had 1 beer. Oh man, I'm old. I had like 2 beers one night. It was very exciting. I had a hard seltzer. Hard seltzer. I was hitting that hard seltzers. I think we did hang out. Paddleboarding. I read a book. I tried some things for the first time, and it just made me kind of sleepy and want to take a nap. But we did. I think the important bit is we hit that feeling of summer. And that's kind of what we wanted. We wanted that feeling of like summer break and summer vacation that like you just get like in high school and maybe college, depending on how things went. And I think we succeeded in that goal of like hitting that moment of like, it's a hot day out. You have some friends available to do things with. There's like a bunch of snacks open and candy. There's no plan. There's no stress. No one's like has a timetable that you're keeping it to. You don't have to go anywhere. And you can just kind of like hang out and do what you want. You can go outside in the heat. You can go swimming. You can read a book inside. We played some Super Smash Brothers and Mario Kart. Like, I think we just hit that vibe right. And for that, it was a very successful trip. Now, we had some logistical issues. I almost had to drive myself or carpool with my other friend in some weird like triangle carpool because one person's sister was having a baby, and like they needed to be there after the birth of the baby, and the baby was being born like 49 hours of labor. And the baby was born like Monday morning for the day we were leaving. There was some logistical trouble there. My friend's Sprinter van was having problems, so he could only go 30 miles per hour over the pass on the freeway. And then what really stymied and cut our stay short is we had a Weird Al concert in Troutdale, Oregon to go to. So on Thursday morning, we packed on up and drove down to Troutdale, Oregon, which is essentially Portland. We went to Portland. But I drove it to not get car sick. Very smart. I did learn, or was reminded of, that one thing that stresses me about travel, I forgot about this. Other people packing to leave stresses me out. Like, I am not involved. I don't need to be involved if they're packing. But something about hearing people packing and the logistics of people packing causes stress in me, and I don't know why. I'm not going to investigate it deeply, but I think it probably stems from the stress of packing when I was partnered in the past. And like the stress of them being packed in time to leave on time and end up like, and not being causing us to then be late to something is like a stress that's like been ingrained in me. And I need to really like Like, it's fine. It's fine, right? But that was one of those, like, stressors of my past got, like, resurfaced. And I was like, whoa, I haven't felt this in a while. Why am I feeling this? I recovered fine. We drove we went from, we had two options. So Google Maps was like, oh, you're leaving Leavenworth, are you? You can go back to Seattle and then take I-5 south from Seattle. You can just drive through Tacoma and JBLM and Olympia and get your way to Portland that way. Or go on the east side via Yakima, where there's absolutely nothing but scrub brush. And like, going via Seattle will save you 5 minutes. And we're looking at that map. And it's like 9 a.m. on a Friday, on Thursday. We're looking at the map and we're like, there is no way in hell that this time is right. Like, it was showing no traffic on the map, and we're just like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. There's no way. Driving through Seattle to get to Portland, my guy, that is how you get stuck in traffic hell in like Centralia or something and hate your life. So we took the eastern route, which was my first time driving these roads. And honestly, some parts of it, boring. Some parts are boring. Some parts were actually, you know what? I'll say it, kind of interesting. There's a bunch of windmills, so like all this scrubland. Yakima itself was boring. We stopped to buy some peaches from a fruit stand. Where it's that classic, like you pull up to a fruit stand and like the guy, hunched over guy comes out and he's got like he has like a peach in his hand, like a giant knife, and he's cutting you slices of the giant peach to hand to you. And he's like, oh, try the peach. And we're like, buddy, we stopped here for the peaches. You do not need to sell us on these peaches. But then we're like, but we'll still take some free peach. And it was great. It was fantastic. And then Yakima itself, we didn't stop. We thought about it, but like the timing didn't work out. There is apparently a James Beard award-winning tamale shop in Yakima. But we were just kind of ready to drive, so we didn't stop. One day I'll go there, one day. And there's a stretch from Golden Bar, or something like that, to the Columbia River. That was kind of like windy roads through like a forest. Boring as all get out. Like driving a highway through a pine forest, I'm just like, please stop, please end me. It's so boring. The roads are just windy enough that you can't just like go in autopilot cruising. And like, they're one lane, so you always have to be like stuck behind somebody. And I drive on the faster side. So I'm like, we made it though. Now, the Columbia Gorge part of the drive, gorgeous, absolutely wonderful. Driving the Columbia Gorge is so cool. You have this giant ass river. There's so many people out there windsurfing and like kiteboarding. We're like, you're in the gorge, you have like cliff walls next to you. And it was just like, it was great. It was great. That part was great. There was some crazy bananas wind gusto. Like, I have not felt my car be physically shifted by wind in such a long time that it happened. I'm just like, oh shit. We made it. Most of the night I got worried about like the U-Hauls around us being hit by the same wind gust and like tipping onto us. We went across something called the Bridge of the Gods, which GPS said you're going to go over the Bridge of the Gods and I'll have a $3 fee. And I'm like, you're telling me I got to go across this gorge on something called Bridge of the Gods? Like, this is going to be amazing. It was fine. Big name for that bridge. Not much results. But then we went to, and this is where it gets interesting. Part of the trip, we went to Troutdale. There's a Weird Al show in Seattle. I think it's tonight even. Or, I'm using Seattle with big loose quotes. It's like Puyallup or Auburn or something. So Podunk, Pierce County locale. Defend everybody I can. And so it's in Troutdale and McMiniman Edgefield. But my friend's parents, or dad and stepmom, I feel weird saying parents when it's like his dad and his stepmom. It's like, I don't know, something with the parents phrasing hits me weird when I can't think of it that way. We stayed at their house in Vantucky. And it was it's one of those moments where I realized like I've crafted my life to be a bubble. Like, all my friends are probably between the ages of like 22 and 45. We all live in the Seattle area. generally speaking, millennials in a very liberal city. And part of that, which I don't think about, I consciously have not thought about this, is interior design. Like, the interior design of millennials is just like has become background noise to me. I don't think about it, right? You don't think about like furniture choices or like towels you buy or like who has guest bedrooms? But they're like, so we go to my friend's parents' house. They lived there for like, let's say, how old's my friend? 30 years. They lived in this house, let's say 30 years. It was like a 5,000 square foot McMansion overlooking the river. And it was decorated in the, as Mustangs say, extreme boomer core. And it's something I've not encountered in a long time. And it just like, it hit me like a truck, their decorating style. And it's like, I was in several guest bedrooms. I had one guest bedroom and a guest bathroom. Guest bathroom recently remodeled. And it's that room decor where you walk into the guest room and it's like 98% of the room is a giant like king size bed. That is for some reason like a foot taller than a bed should be. And it's covered in like 3 dozen throw pillows. Just like throw pillows on throw pillows on throw pillows. There's like very little floor space, but they still fit a TV in. And it's like, none of the throw pillows are usable. They're all uncomfortable throw pillows. There's actually one usable pillow under this pile of like 30 pillows. And it's like, there's 8 blankets like stacked and layered on this bed. And it's just like, why? And then they had a recently remodeled bathroom, which I'm not sure how to say this. The bathroom's remodeled and it's super bright. It's like all white, like marble panels, and it's like they put like a big white tub in and like a white pedestal sink and like a sunroof. And it's like blindingly bright inside this bathroom. Like somehow it's the brightest bathroom I've been in a while. But what the bathroom had and the bedroom had, and I noticed like when my parents made a guest room at their house, it was like kind of the same thing. Was all these like design choices and like even like the choices of like towels, where you feel like they're picked based on how they look, and there's no thought given to the actual usability and experience of like staying in that room or using that bathroom. Like they have these huge towels and like they're not absorbent. They feel fluffy in your hands, but actually using them, they're like ineffectual as all get out. Or like when I went to like my parents, they first had this bathroom, it had like this nice sink and they had this mirror and but no countertop space to put anything. And when you're a guest somewhere, you need countertop space, but like your toiletries bag. So it's kind of that same like, oh no, not the not lean against couch. Ugh. There's like framed pictures everywhere. And it just hit me deeply, like in this, the interior design is meant to be seen, but never interacted with. And all the stuff everywhere, like it really to me like made a very stark contrast and be like, this is why so many millennials have embraced minimalism as interior design, or like mid-century modern where you have like lighter feeling furniture and lighter like insides. So I'll get to the plushie difference. It's now I know some, I'll say 70% of millennial minimalism is we don't have enough money to afford things. Let's get that out of the way. There's a affording aspect to all of like who can afford 30 pillows from Bed Bath Beyond? Not me. Or from Cost Plus World Market. Those are the pillows that like the satin sheen with like hard buttons on them, and you're just like braided roping around the edges. That's also somehow very hard. I think there's between like the pile of plushies and like having some. Cause I have friends who have beds that are covered in plushies, right? Like way more than I would put on a bed, but that's fine. But those are like very often their own beds. right? It's their beds full of plushies, and that brings them joy. They're not like saying, hey, stay in my guest bed, and you walk in and it's just like 100 Lulaboos like stacked on the bed. It's their bed, and like, great. You can do it. If you want to sleep on 100 plushies, and if you have like 65 Pokemon plushies and that's how you want to sleep in your bed, fantastic, wonderful. But the boomer interior decoration aesthetic is less. It's more just like furniture and rooms that are supposed to be seen but never interacted with. Like Labubu, maybe it's Labubu. It's like they're just like set pieces. And like my parents used to have this a lot more, but they moved and downsized. And then in their guest room, because I've stayed in enough, I started giving them feedback. I'm like, Dad, your guest bathroom is nice. It is lacking in countertop space. A small end table in the bathroom would be great. And you know what? My dad, he took that feedback. Maybe he didn't like it, maybe he did, but he put in a little like end table thing, like a little put some towels on the like the middle rack, and it has like a little flat area to put your toiletries. Made it a lot nicer, a lot more usable. So like my parents, I've given them direct feedback. Oh, the silent generation. That's my grandmother's house was silent generation, which is definitely like a different vibe. She also had a lot of stuff, but I feel all of her stuff was more for her. Like she had a curio cabinet full of a bunch of creepy dolls, but like she wasn't like, there weren't like spaces for, I don't know. It was more like things and less like, they had uncomfortable furniture because their furniture was uncomfortable, not because it was just for looks. Yeah, I could like, oh, I mean, that's all of us, right? Like he said as an anime boy on the internet, that's all of us trying to like recapture what we didn't have in our youth. But now we have money, so we can. Hopefully we have money. We probably have more money than we did as children. I hope. So the interior decor is like, it's also two of them in a 5,000 square foot house. 5,000 square foot house. It's so big. It's such a big house. It was nice. Had some nice aspects to it. But I was only for like 1 hour. I effectively only spent like 2.5 hours in that house, aside from sleeping. And like, it never felt comfortable. It was my friend's childhood home, so he probably hopefully felt comfortable in it. But he also but I don't know, man. It's just like, I'm not used to interacting with that generation. And it showed. But it's funny because then we went to the concert together. Like, it's so big. So it started, the three of us bought Weird Al tickets. Like, we're going to Weird Al tickets. Can we stay with you in Vancouver? I'm like, great. Also, we bought tickets. And like all of us are like, you also bought tickets to this concert we're going to. That's cool. That's cool. We definitely wanted to spend the whole concert hanging out with you. Yeah. Cool. Thank God they bought reserved seating and we were general admission, so we didn't have to sit with them. But we drove over in I drive a Honda Civic. All my friends essentially drive Subarus of various types. Maybe a scattered Prius here and there, right? But we live in a city. They had a giant ass SUV. And I know a lot of people own giant SUVs. And it was so big. I'm like, can we all fit in it? And my friend's like, Sanish, this car has 3 rows in it. We can fit everybody. It was such a big vehicle. I was just like, damn. Why? Why need such a big car? But it's fine. We drove over to McMimmins, and there's a little bit of traffic to get into parking. Like, we were there at 5, and the doors opened at 5, I think. After taking 2 hours to get from Seattle to Tacoma to see Ado, this was a walk in the park. Absolutely, it was super easy to get in, to find parking. There's so much space. But my friend's dad was like, oh, all these people here can't be here to see Weird Al. I'm just like, yeah, they can be. In fact, I expected more traffic to get in to see Weird Al. But then we got there and they split off to their like reserved seating line. And then we had to snake our way through this like field, around a corner, double back loop, around a mountain, around this hill to the end of to get to the end of the general admission line. A lot farther back. He's a big deal. So we got in there, we waited in line, we passed some creepy old barracks on the McMiniman's field, which is weird to have. I had a rental chair, my friends had regular chairs. And we chatted for a while. Apparently I got some Cajun, like, well, not apparently. I saw a food stall selling tater tots. I'm a simple fox boy. I bought the tater tots. They were 8 out of 10 tater tots. Not like platonic ideal tots, but like really like some of the best tater tots I've had in the last like 6 months, I'd say. So McMinimans, I'll give you that for your tots. Great. Then we were sitting and waiting for a while. We're chatting, we're talking, we're doing the normal like socializing with friends. We're outside, a little dodgy being outside again. Didn't get sunburned. There was a group next to us, like 2 seats over. It was 4 people on a blanket. All 4 head to toe dressed in Weird Al cosplay. They had the shirt, they had the pants, they had Weird Al wigs and the glasses, like a little mustache. Fantastic. So many people dressed as Weird Al. It was great. It was wonderful. I did see this one teen, maybe young woman. She was dressed in like a goth Lolita pink dress with like clown face paint on and like a furry tail. And I saw her and like she was gone too fast. I wanted to tell her I loved her outfit, but it was too late. I didn't see her again. The regret to this trip. And the reason she was wearing clown makeup, by the way, isn't just like because we're near Portland, but because the opening act was Puddle's Pity Party. And if you're not familiar, Puddle's Pity Party is a clown who sings, I'm trying to describe his style. He sings cover music on YouTube. You should look him up. Not during my stream, of course. Afterwards, look him up. But like my friend hadn't heard of him. His parents hadn't heard of Puddle's Pity Party, and they looked up his videos and like, I don't like this. They're like, I do not like this clown. I am going to go get drinks and wander around and not watch this. Like, I'm not going to see this pre-show clown. Like, absolutely no. This is terrible. The minute he started, they all got enraptured and wanted to watch more Puddle's Pity Party. They're trying to move around to get better views. They got captured by the lure of a singing clown. But one funny part, I expected my friend's parents to ask about my painted nails. They did not. I'm a little insulted. I was also tempted to introduce myself as Sanish, he, him, just to kind of throw them off for a bit and see how like what gears would start turning slowly in their heads. I didn't, because I didn't actually want that sort of attention from them in any way. But I was thinking my friend, never judge a clown by its cover. They're good covers though. The covers are good though. I like the cover. When I saw his Puddle's Pity Party, I was ready. I was pumped. We were sitting there waiting. Puddle's Pity Party was done. I think Weird Al was setting up. And so I like, she just asked like, oh, how long? Like, she's probably, I'm guessing she was thinking this all weekend. And she wants to know like, oh, so like, how long you been shaving your legs? So she started asking about like some of the more like feminine aesthetic choices I've made over the last like year or so. Mostly like shaving legs, painting nails sort of thing. And she asked me something that like, honestly, I think I've been ready to answer this question because I'm surprised more people haven't asked it. But she was like, oh, like, have you tried women's clothing? I'm like, oh, I've tried women's clothing, like maid outfit. I showed her my dress for my Ren Fair sort of thing. And she's like, so like, are you questioning your gender at all? And that was one thing, like, I've been like, for some reason I was like waiting for this, not like it's a gotcha question, but like someone's going to ask this eventually. And the answer of course is like, no, I'm not. Like, you knew ask yourself that question, right? Like, you're like, am I questioning my gender? You're like, no, actually, I'm pretty much not. I just like the more feminine looks, and that's fine. But it was a funny moment of just like, I could tell she wanted to ask for probably a lot longer. And it's like, oh, no, I'm perfectly fine. But then I did end up show her because you're like talking about makeup. I have like a tinted like not quite foundation, but like a tinted moisturizer I use and like some like blush highlight sometimes. And then probably because I have a Halloween costume planned of reprise my maid outfit, but I'm thinking I'm probably going to like try to do some like more eye makeup and maybe face contouring. I have 2 months. We'll see. The problem with some makeup, like you have to buy a lot of products to do these things. Like to do eye makeup, you have to buy so many products, and I'm cheap. I don't want to spend $200 on makeup products, and I don't want to buy cheap makeup near my eyes. I'll work on it. I'll think about this. I might just like, I might just ask all the women I know as friends and be like, anyone want to do my face makeup for Halloween? Huh? You got a blank canvas to work with. You can poke things near my eye. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. I think well, that's the funny part. She asked like, what made you want to like try this? And it's like, one of the reasons, like I have half jokingly, half seriously told myself for the last 25 years of like, oh, I would look good in a dress. And it turns out, you know what? I do look good in a dress. I don't have the upper assets for it, perhaps. But I think leg-wise and waist-wise, I got it. So I did like more conversation flowed. And at one point I asked him like, do you want to see some of my outfits of like skirts and crop tops and things? And she was like, and like this is the response I've gotten from every single woman I've asked this, or this has come up as a conversation. Their response is a very deep, genuine, like dead face, dead in the eyes. Like, I absolutely 100% want to see this outfit. Like, and it's like, it's funny because like, I mean, it's like outfit, I was like, you know, ready. You cull those photos, right? Like, don't scroll past this point. But it's, I know, it was funny. I've shown some people. It's never something I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna wear this in public. Well, I say that now. Check it in a year. But like, seeing people dressed up for the Weird Al concert made me realize like, oh, I could have like actually like dressed up for this more so than I was wearing. Like, what was I wearing? I was wearing like shorts. I had like a black t-shirt on and like a Hawaiian-esque type of a short sleeve shirt, a little Weird Al themed. Also just a little might have been chilly that evening. I wanted an extra layer. But just, that was pretty fun. For me, a funny moment. But it was also the point of the week is like, I shaved my legs before the trip started, but I didn't do any shaving during the trip because it takes a while. It takes some time. Skin has a lot of surface area. You learn quickly. So by the end of this trip, I'm just like getting that feeling of like, if you have beards, like 5 o'clock shadows, that same feeling of like you shave your face and then there's a point where like you like, it's fine. I don't need to shave. It's fine. You're like, oh god damn it, I need to shave again. That happens if you shave your legs or like arms or anything. Same feeling of just like, you're like, it's fine. And then you're like, it's not fine. Oh no, it's tipped over the edge. And I'm like 8 hours from a razor. I'm now at the point where I'm just like, waxing and lasering is sounding awfully nice. These days. How much does it cost? Oh, actually, I take it back. It's not a cost issue. I'm actually at the point of just like the embarrassment and anxiety? No, not anxiety. Self-consciousness and pain are probably the biggest blockers. The pain is this is going to be a surprise to any listeners here. I'm not a fan of pain or any sort of experience that's mildly discomforting. But I heard sugaring's better for stuff. I might look into nearby lasering / sugaring places, and take care of some things. Just take care of some things, you know? Because I like the look and the feel of not having any body hair, but the removal options aren't great. And I'm like, where are technological breakthroughs in this? Where are technological breakthroughs? Who was I talking to? One of my friends at this adult summer camp is in the process of getting a tattoo removed. Was it adult summer camp or somewhere else? I have one friend who's getting a tattoo removed, and they say it is like absolutely, positively, incredibly painful. More so than like anything else. Oh man, speaking of pain, that's one thing that happened. So in the tubing, you're like paddling. So you're like reclining in the tube, and you have these two frisbees. You're essentially doing breaststrokes with frisbees in the water to paddle. One of my friends threw her back out, or not her like disc sort of thing, but like a muscle got thrown or injured, and she was just like incapacitated in what she said was the most incredible pain of her entire life for one of the evenings and into the next day. She couldn't move. It was bad. It was so bad. And everyone's cobbling together like what different medications people had that could help her out, like icy cold patches, hot patches. And I don't think it was until we got to like my friends, boomer parents, who just had like a bevy of like muscle relaxants and other like medicines they've been prescribed over the years as like a buffet option for like treating things. Oh yeah. So that was a downer but like his dad was just like, they prescribe you like 200 doses. You only need like 5. And like, you can't throw it away. You can't flush it down the toilet. Like the drugs, like Walgreens no longer takes old medicine. And he's like, you can't get rid of it. So you just have like this growing stash of various medicines and medications like over time, which is very like a funny thing. Like all my friends are like, we're at that age where you have conversations that are about like, what bodily problems do you have? How's your body breaking down? What bones of yours hurt? It's like, oh no, we've hit that age. We're no longer young. So there's a lot of comparisons of like back problems or comparisons of mental health issues and like therapy and like treatments people have done or ways to think about things. I mean, in some ways, actually in a lot of ways, it's fantastic that we can have these conversations, right? That between friends, we can talk about like, I've had these issues with depression or these issues of ADHD or these issues of anxiety, or like my back's hurt in this way, or like I've had this problem, like here's how I treat it, here's like how I approach, like, so having that openness and honesty is honestly really nice. It's really nice to be able to talk about that. And the one funny part is like, all my friends in this group are in therapy. They have individual therapists. They're all in couples therapy. They actually go to the same couples therapists, and they say that like the recurring joke between both of them is like, oh, well, let's say their therapist's name is Jane. Like, Jane says we're doing better as a couple than you guys. Jane says like, you guys need more help. That's why you go twice as often. But I'm the only one in the group who has not gone to therapy, as evident by the fact that I'm a VTuber. And it's a funny like a little gap there of like, of so many of my friends go to therapy, which is great, which is wonderful. For some reason, I've never gone. I've never felt the desire to go. Should I go? Probably. Am I going to go? Probably not. But it's a funny, like slight generational deviation, a little deviation there. Like, why go to therapy when you can have chatting streams? So we had the Weird Al concert, a bit of a diversion, and it was fine. It was like good performance, I guess. Everyone else loved it. But as I've said earlier, this whole year, I've been trying out this concept of whether or not I like live music. So I had Ado concert, Weird Al. I saw TWRP last year, actually. TWRP in a small venue. I am seeing a Stardew Symphony of Seasons concert in the fall. I'm going to, oh my God. There's an artist who I really like, Lave, who there's a correct pronunciation of her name. She's Icelandic. And then there's a pronunciation in my head. And that's why I've been calling her for over a year. And I know it is 100% the incorrect pronunciation, but it is too embedded to break at this point. So Latte concert, I say Laufey in my head, and that's wrong. I know it's wrong, but I can't stop. I can't stop seeing her live in fall as well. So I have 2 more concerts, or concert and symphony, I guess, before I ask myself, do I enjoy live music? So the Weird Al concert, a lot of it was me sitting there thinking, I could have just listened to this at home. So I'm not sold yet on whether or not I enjoy live music in any form. I'll give 2 more chances and I'll make a decision. But it's one of several kind of experiences or things a lot of people seem to enjoy that I am kind of indifferent towards. There's in fact a whole slew of these things. And I've always thought it's like, I know it's a sensation I've gotten used to of not enjoying something that a lot of people around me seem to really, 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 really enjoy. Like my friends love live music. They love concerts. They see these bands, they see all these things. And like, for me, I'm just kind of like, I don't know if I like it. I don't know if I like it. And like, same for like conventions as well. There's all these experiences where I'm just like, I might not fully enjoy these. And so I'm giving it a try. I'm late 30s and I'm like, I am trying to address preconceived notions about things. I'm like, especially things where I'm like, I don't enjoy this. Like, let's revisit. Like, I didn't like IPAs 10 years ago. Now I enjoy IPAs. I didn't like tomatoes as a kid. Now I like tomatoes. Or like, right, there's like things like I told myself I don't like, and then I'm an adult now, or not adult now, I'm an adult more, adult later. Let's revisit some things. Or some things where like, I've never done this, and I've never done it because like, it was never presented as an option, or like, sometimes it's because there's a stigma attached to it, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 30 years ago. And so let's give it a try. It's like painting nails for one, shaving legs is another. Going to concerts, like I'm giving myself the opportunity to revisit some things that have as that self-narrative that you tell yourself. You're like, oh, I don't like this, or oh, I do like this. And having that moment of like, do I, or can I? So this year's concerts on that list of things, whether I enjoy or not. The other is trying various self-medicating substances and sing about my experiences with those, which I would love to talk about, but I am worried a little bit about the rules and regulations along these platforms and also other aspects. So ask me in person. Happy to talk about it. But on those fronts also, I'm like, I'm not sure if I want to I was really into it, you know? Now, some experiences I have done recently and I have loved. I did a fancy cocktail espresso martini bar called Friends. Loved it. That was great fun. I enjoyed that and I would do that again in a heartbeat. Going to restaurants with friends. Great. Most of the time. Do I want to cook at home more? Yes. Did I eat no vegetables because we only ate at restaurants? Yes. Or like, there's another one that came up. I don't remember what it was. Oh, wearing costumes was something I was always told myself I didn't like or wasn't into or like wasn't my thing. And then this year going to SoccerCon, like a maid outfit, I'm like, actually, turns out this could be a lot of fun. All I had to do was switch to women's clothing and it was much more enjoyable. One, I got a lot more compliments. And that, you know, honestly, if I do something and I get a lot of compliments as a result, I am much more likely to do it. I am a very simple person. If I am praised, I will do that thing way more. Especially if I'm praised unprompted. If I'm praised prompted, I'll still respond positively. I think that's definitely true. I'm easily encouraged, I would say. I'm also easily encouraged if I get praise and like compliments from women. That will definitely motivate me to do it. Mostly because like, I'm not sure why. Maybe because men don't compliment as much. Think about that one. Noodle on that one. It's a case we don't compliment as much as a whole, and then we, as a result, we don't get compliments because we don't know how to compliment. Something I told some of my women friends a year and a half ago, was like, I want to get better. I think it says a stream. I want to get better at complimenting women. Right? It's something I think I'm bad at. I think it's something I'm not very good at. And part of it is I have a deep fear. But men are weird about complimenting men. And men can be weird about complimenting women or complimenting other people. And I have a deep fear of coming across as weird and like being seen as a creep. So I told some friends of mine who are women, I'm like, I would like to practice complimenting women. Can I practice giving you guys compliments? And not like fake compliments, but like genuine compliments. Like I actually wanted to say like truthful compliments, and like I want to practice so I can like build it as a habit, get better at it so I can compliment other people. Because it's nice to feel complimented. Therefore, one should compliment other people when you genuinely mean it in a not creepy way. And that's key, in a not creepy way. So I'm trying to get better at it. It's a long like reprogramming, however you want to phrase it, reconditioning. But like one thing my two friends have started doing is like telling your friends you love them. Like that is a very hard thing to do. And like, it's funny because I had a moment of like, it was like a month ago when my friend's like, oh, like, I love you, friend A. It's like, oh, I love you too, friend B. And I'm like, oh, I love you guys. And he's like, no, Sanish, tell us you love us individually. And I'm just like, I got called out hard for the generic I love you guys to be like, no. Say you love us individually, which I do. I love my friends. But being forced to say it individually is like, oh, I never felt like so like called out in a long time. So I'm trying to get better at it. And that's why at this Weird Al concert, I saw this young woman wearing a pink Lolita dress and like a furry tail, and I wanted to compliment her, but I didn't see her again. And I feel bad right now. Even now, I'm like, oh, I should have complimented her at the moment. Just being like, oh, excuse me, I love your dress. And that's it. That's all I would have to say, and it would be good. Regrets. Regrets not complimenting that one. Because like most people, they were dressed as normies. I'll just say it. I was dressed that way as well, so I was like, that's all on me. But it's probably some young lady who lives in Troutdale, Oregon, in suburbia, and just trying to be different for once to rebel, and just wanted to maybe she didn't want validation. Maybe I would have come across as a creepy old man, which, you know what? That would be the worst case scenario. That is the worst case scenario. It's not what I don't want. She posting on like Reddit, like this creepy man tried to compliment me at that Weird Al concert. I'd be like, oh, not me. No, I'm different. So it's like one of my friends was like if you want to like, it's weird getting like, not weird. She's like, if you're into somebody and you want to hold their hand, compliment their fingernails and say, oh wow, I really like your nails, can I see them? And like when they show you their nails, like essentially take their hand in yours to like look at their nails to compliment them. I'm like, I was told this, I'm just like, shit, that's a really good flirtatious move. I'm never going to use it, but I'm just like, damn, that's a good one. Where were these lessons 25 years ago? Right, it's genius. And because like, if you paint your own nail, like even once, you suddenly do develop a deep appreciation for artistry and difficulty in painting good nails. Like the two women at this adult summer camp were both just like looking at my nails, and they're just like, did you get those done professionally? And I'm like, no, I painted them myself. And they were like, one of them was like, could you paint my nails? I didn't, because that is a pressure. Well, we didn't have time. I think it was another one. Also, the idea of painting nails in the opposite direction is really weird. It's like tying someone else's shoe. Yeah, it's hard to get used to it. It's also like you appreciate when other people do it, and that's for me. It's noticing that like I appreciate other people doing it. So like, oh, but it's harder for you. It was just like they're like, oh, we just ghost her and paint her nails. Just like reach around my friend's wife to paint her nails. That actually would have been harder. I think that would be actively harder to reach around someone and paint their nails. They would have been up for it. Maybe next time. But it's something I've been trying is like, we're a friendly group. Oh, it's terribly frightening on the social cues. But I'm like, it's like, oh, I like it when my friends do this, or like, honestly, wearing a maid dress and getting complimented a lot was like a big eye-opening experience for that. Of just like, it feels nice getting compliments, and they don't have to be like deep or like a compliment. I think for me it was the disconnect, realizing that like giving someone a compliment is not this, like, doesn't have to be the same as hitting on them, right? You could tell your friend like, oh wow, you look really good in that dress, or you look really good in that shirt, or like that haircut looks great on you, or like, oh wow, like you look really pretty today. Like you can tell your friend that and like genuinely mean it. But that doesn't have that doesn't have to mean like you're hitting on them or you want to date them or anything like that. You could just genuinely think your friend looks pretty, or like your friend looks great. Like, you have male friends, sometimes they like their outfit looks great on them, or like, oh wow, they worked out recently, or they like put on weight, or like my one friend, he had a mustache this time, but when he grows his beard out, it's like, it is a fantastic beard. It's not like the thickest beard, but like his maintenance and shaping and like care of it is like, is phenomenal. It's like a phenomenal dedication to his beard shape. And I tell him every time he has it, because it's so good. It's so good. Doesn't mean I want to hit on my friend. I just think he's really good at growing out his beard. My other friend's shitty at it. It's great. He's not shitty at it, in case he's listening. Your beard's good. Your beard's great, bud. You keep up the good work. I'm sure it'll come in full one day. Those are definitely blonde hairs, not gray hairs in your beard. Yeah. It's fine. So it's compliment your friends. I need to do it more often. I'll try to do it more often. Most of my friend interactions are on Discord and text, and sometimes it's harder in text to compliment people. Sometimes it's easier. It's a weird mix. But I try to do it, and I try to do it like, especially when I have a couple friends where it's very safe to do. They've joined me on my journey of arrow aceness, so they're quite aware of those boundaries and everything. So I think those are like, feels very safe to give those compliments. And I try to do it in private and in public. Sometimes I have to do it in private, because if I did it in public spaces, it'd come off as a bit unhinged, or like, Sandra's got a thing for her. That's helpful. It's funny because I've gone practicing with one friend, and I've actually had like 1 or 2 people like message me or someone else of like, do you have a crush on her? And I'm just like, no, I don't have a crush on her. I really like her as a friend. It's like, and I think she is pretty and attractive, but that's it. That's where it ends. Which honestly, I will say one thing over the last 2 years I've realized that I wish I realized when I was younger. Having a fake online relationship is a lot of fun. Like pretending that you're in a relationship with somebody in a chat room or like a Discord server with other people, and you have fake fights. It's great. It's great. I love it. Maybe it's definitely not for everybody, because it's like a weird line to toe. But like having like a ship name with a friend, and like you have fake relationships, and like you just splatter everywhere until you know your other friends. I don't know why I love it so much, but I do. It's like you get all that drama, like all the fake drama of a relationship that's on the rocks. Like you're fake breaking up, you're fake getting back together without any of the actual like emotional consequences. Oh yeah, and it's not for everybody. I have friends who have straight up said like, "Do not ship me. Like, do not involve me in this sort of activity. Like, I can't. Like, it's not for me." And you have to hard respect those boundaries, because if you don't hard respect those boundaries, like, you need like full enthusiastic opt-in to do this sort of thing. And it's like, once you have it though, it's great. It's great. I love it. I think I love it because I like fundamentally deep down in my core heart of hearts, I'm a jester and want to be an entertainer and want to be seen as funny. And like court jester was probably my true calling in life. I want to say bard, but I can't play instruments, or a storyteller. I wouldn't have been an advisor. I would have been a shitty advisor. I wouldn't be a ruler or a soldier. Like in a medieval court situation, I would be the jester with a quip, witty repartee, fake flirtation, getting murdered for saying something, getting killed by the king for saying something I shouldn't have said. Ah, delightful. Jailed. Going a step too far. Yeah, and like so we have like, I have a Discord of like 80 friends locally, 100 people, but it's only like 30 people active really. And there's like, it's like any sort of like joking around or teasing as well, or like any of that sort of interactions. I am for me, I am very, very careful with who I do that with. I only make sure it's with people who I know are okay with it, enjoy it, and would like reciprocate. Because there's some people I've met, and there's some friends I have who 100% are not built for that sort of interaction. That sort of like repartee, fake flirtation, fake joking around, teasing. And it's like, I like to think I have a decent ability and skill set to identify people who that works well with, without like essentially knowing where people's lines are to make sure you don't cross them. And maybe not even approaching them, but like sussing out and like seeing where those lines are, or just asking people directly. And then filling that space and using that and creating like that safe carved out space. Like with this person, here's the space where like comedy and joke and like play is allowed, and doing that play. And I'm very cognizant that it's like different, and that's fantastic. Like I've had some friends who are like that, and knowing that is super important. It's super important for like how you interact. It's super important for interpreting what people say. Like with my friends in like the adult summer camp, we've essentially like realized between us, the boundaries of what's allowed is almost boundless. So it has allowed us to do some we can sometimes get very toxic with each other when playing online games, knowing it's a safe place. We don't actually mean it. And it's like really channel like old mid 2000s FPS gamer chat rooms with each other. It's great. It's great fun, but it is not something we'd ever do with anybody else until we vetted that like they're in that safe space. Same for Dungeons and Dragons, same for chat rooms, same with hanging out with friends, same with streaming. Like knowing those boundaries is so important. And it's hard. It's hard, and it's something I've worked hard, like I've actively worked on in the last like 3-4 years, and it's been part of my like journey for like how to make friends as adults. And that's part of it, is like identifying and creating those spaces for play, which is very vague and generic thing to say that isn't really actionable, but I'm not here to give you actionable advice. So that was a long way to say concert, not sure about. Then we got back, had an awkward hour in the kitchen where it was one of those like, I'm ready to go to bed, everybody. And they kept talking. I'm like, oh, I want to go to bed. And then this morning we had a game plan. The day before we arrived, we're like, I-5 North is closing tonight. Let's say that we want to get back before traffic. Ergo, we have to leave before 9 a.m. so we don't have time to go out for a meal for breakfast or have a sit down, like very formal meal. We should have enough time, maybe have a light snack and coffee, and then depart. So we set our game plan early, because otherwise we can get like entrapped by relatives. You know, if you're visiting family or parents, some people have, some people don't, where it's like you're trying to leave and you're just like, you've sat there, you've gone, oh, you slapped your knees if you're a Midwestern, you stood up, and it was not enough to like extricate you from the situation. But we said 9 a.m. and we got out there at 9:12 and it felt like a huge accomplishment. And then we did the boring drive up I-5 to Seattle, the boring drive of boringness. And I think Google said like 11:56 arrival, and at 9 a.m. it said 11:56 a.m. arrival, and we got there at like 12:02. It was amazing, and that was with one rest stop, and we were only 6 minutes behind schedule. It was absolutely wild, absolutely wild. Then of course this was only to my friend's house, and I had another hour 15 minutes of driving ahead of me. So I had to drive from Seattle to Bellevue, back to another part of Seattle. So I had to go to my the day I left for this trip, I got an email that 2 of my anime figurines got delivered to my old apartment in Bellevue. And so I had to drive back to Bellevue through traffic to pick up my anime figurines, say goodbye to my old apartment, and then drive back through traffic. I had to cross 3 bridges to get home. It was miserable. Made it though. I got home, and the feeling of blessed relief of arriving home after being away, after driving for 4 hours, I just like stripped everything off, took a shower, like a cleansing shower, get the dust of the road off, put my pajamas on. I'm just like, oh, I'm home again. Made an espresso, have my own tap water. Tonight I'll have my own bed back. And I'm like, I've become old. I'm a homebody. I've come to terms, I'm a homebody. I just like being home. I say with a 3-week trip to Japan planned in November. I'm like, I like being home. I'll be gone for a month, but I like being home. But the one thing I'm surprised about, I really expected, my fingernails are currently dark blue. I really expected to be asked about my fingernails. So I had a video call with my parents for the first time since I started painting my nails on Saturday? Sunday, maybe? Sunday. And like pretty quickly on the video call, they're like, so your nails are new? Why are your nails painted? Sort of question. Or like, they noticed my fingernails and like, so what made you want to do that? They said questioningly. Luckily, they accepted the answer of, I decided to try it out and I liked it. But I expected such a question from my friend's parents. I was ready for it. I was braced for it, but it never came. And somehow I'm a little disappointed. Like, was the color not bright enough for them? Then I'm like, am I just painting my nails to get attention? And I'm like, shit. And that's no, by the way. I paint my nails because I like how they look. They're super shiny and they're like a fun color. I'm still in the honeymoon period. It was like, maybe it never goes away, of painting nails and enjoying it. See, the problem is they seemed like the type, my friends here, I apologize fully, who wouldn't let that stop them. Maybe they talked about it after I left, which is fine. But it's I don't know. It's an odd generation. It's an odd generation to interact with when you're not used to it. To going back into that, I'm still emotionally processing. This is probably what the stream is. I'm just processing it out loud. And like seeing reflections of like some things my parents or other relatives have done in the same kind of like vein. I'm just like, I have crafted such a bespoke bubble for myself between my friends, my interactions, how I live my life. I forget that I've done it. It's like it's background at this point, the life I've made. So when I leave it, I'm kind of like jump scared of like, oh, other people live this way? This is how other people like go day to day? I'm like, wow. Oh, wow. This is just how it goes. And then I'm home. I'm finally home. I'm just like, oh, thank God. In some ways, I'm glad this trip ended on Friday. So I have tomorrow and Sunday to recover before I go back to what I assume is a workplace on fire. Since I left, my company's had 2 big major events, Plus, I'm pretty confident that some of the automation and things I set up before I left likely broke and are on fire. Oh, I did get my I got a call on this trip. I'm getting some blinds installed, and those are coming in on Wednesday. I'm super excited about. I have like windows that are like 15 feet up, or they're 5-foot tall windows starting 10 feet up. I'm getting some remote control automated blinds put in so I can actually like have darkness at night. Small details. That's coming on Wednesday. I'm so excited. But I'm not excited to have the work done. I'm excited to have the work be done. But like something about today, I got like 4 or 5 phone calls today, just like randomly, and they're all junk mail. I'm like, why am I getting all these phone calls? Stop calling everybody. I'm just a little fox boy trying to live his life, and I don't want phone calls. And that was, oh man, that was one thing me and my friends realized. I was mentioning like, oh my God, sorry, I moved my, no, YouTube Studio. There we go. I realized one of the reasons I hate phone calls, talking to my friends this weekend, it's because the audio quality on phone calls sucks. It sucks so bad. And I don't mean this hyperbolically, but if you're on a phone call with somebody, the audio quality is shit. It's just bad. When you've gotten used to like Zoom calls and Discord phone calls, and used to like a headset, and all your friends have like professional microphones, going to like a landline phone call, the audio quality is so bad. It's so awful, and you can't hear what they're saying, and they're like, they don't really care, and it's like, oh, I hate phone calls. I had to make 2 recently, and I'm just like, this is too much. It's too many for me. Too many phone calls. Why can't you all just use actual headsets and like $300 microphones? Why don't you use just like a little handset? Oh, peanut gallery trumpets. I don't. Even though I grew up near the Howard Schultz Museum, I do not remember the oh, let me just back to my check. Howard Schultz. In fact, let's check myself real quick about peanuts. Nope, Howard Schultz is the CEO of Starbucks. Who's the Peanuts author then? Charles Schultz. Ah, I was close. Oh, that sound right. Like, oh, like, I think he. Oh, that's right. So the place, like, we have the county I grew up in has the Charles Schultz Museum because he lived in. That's where he lived in the city I was born in. Curious how long he lived there though. Now that I'm looking at this, he was born in Minnesota. Oh yeah, he moved to the area I grew up in when he was 7 in 1958. Look at that. In Sebastopol and Santa Rosa, California. Oh, wow, look at that. So like the place where I grew up has so many like peanut statues. Like we had like bronze Peanuts character statues around towns and like all around the county. And it was just like, I thought just people were big fans. It wasn't until later I learned like, no, he's from, this is where he's from. I never liked Peanuts very much as a kid or as an adult. But it's a weird famous person to live in your area, I guess. That was a bad fire. It was a block from where my dad was living at the time. A lot of places burned down. They probably recovered. I've not been back. They've not been back. Having that smoke roll in yesterday, day before, was a stark reminder of fire season, and was like, not again. Driving through fire torn. Some of the hills in the areas I was in and drove through Leavenworth, you could clearly see the fire damage of previous years. It's just like, not again, not this. Yeah, I drove through like Yosemite area after a big fire, which is like gray and burnt out sticks. And you're just like, this is depressing, kind of surreal. When I was in Hawaii, we drove past Wailea. Is Wailea the one that burned down? Maui fires, Wailea. Yeah, Wailea. Oh no, Wailea was not burned down. Who burned down then? Lahaina. Okay, yeah. But like fire season starting, we're supposed to be getting like a bunch of rain in my area. This no. The town of Lahaina burned down in Hawaii, in Maui. 3 years ago, a couple years ago. We're supposed to get a bunch of rain in this area tonight. And I'm just like, I've unironically become that old man who just like looks out the window, hands on a hip, being like, we needed this. Because we did. There's a bunch of fires going on already. Please stop fires. I don't want to have to deal with like national forest burning down and a bunch of smoke. It's inevitable. Mine. But that was Adult Summer Camp. Adult Summer Camp, a lot of fun. We're probably going to do it again next year. We're contemplating a adult winter camp. Maybe we'll see how that pans out, what that looks like, what that could look like. Which is the big like, hey, it turns out we could, as adults, we could just like rent an Airbnb for we can hang out together for a couple days. Like, oh, nice. There was one place we saw for rentals. It was a mansion in Eastern Washington near Wenatchee. It was like a 10 bedroom, 12 bath mansion, like a compound. That we're looking at. It was out of our budget for us, so we're like, maybe we could rent that and like invite some more people or some more extended friends in. The problem though is it had a movie theater in it, and then we all looked at the Airbnb listing photos of this movie theater, and we're all like, this movie theater has probably seen quite a few hand jobs. And then we've named it Hand Job Mansion, and like that name is stuck. And so if we invite anybody, we have to tell them that. Which I guess in some ways is a filter of like, do you find this sort of humor funny? If yes, you might be a candidate. If you think it's crass and crude, you are not going to have a good time here at Hand Job Mansion. Oh no, I restarted my finger. Ha! And that's about it for my week away, 5 days away. Check my schedule here. What do I got coming up before I have to inevitably return to the agony and pain of yes, the question, where would we go? Because we want to go somewhere that's like fun, but also accessible, right? Like I was proposing like a January, like a February trip somewhere, but we want to be a place we could drive to and not get snowed in, but a place that has fun things to do. But maybe, I think some of my friends are into skiing, so maybe someplace near snow. We spitball it out there as we're like having our final breakfast and driving away from shit. Like, we should think about doing a winter one. Goodbye. We'll probably do a summer one again. It was fun. Let's see. Here's my stream schedule. Oh, not my schedule. My stream schedule. Here's my life schedule. I have a RimWorld stream at 10 a.m. on Sunday. 10 a.m. Pacific time on Sunday. Also, I have been slowly building out my personal website as a hobby, sanish.net. It now has since I last showed it on stream, it has this goofy, silly website. My schedule is posted on sanish.net, as are my recent Blue Sky posts. There's a tiny schedule. If you click it in the sidebar, it'll take to the printed schedule in my Blue Sky post. With that printed schedule, or you can just like, I guess you could zoom in a bunch and look there. But I kind of wanted to make a silly website, and I figured why not programmatically post my schedule there as well. So you click it, go to Blue Sky post, see my weekly schedule. That's for people who don't have Blue Sky or don't want to check YouTube. I try to keep it updated on Twitch, but I hate the Twitch scheduling interface. It's the worst. But it's fun little website. Consolidate. That way I'm not locked into a given platform for anything. I can just be like, hey, check out Sanish.net for updates. on my GeoCities themed website. It's been fun. I've been enjoying it. I'll probably do more this weekend. But otherwise, I'm going to be wrapping things up because it's almost time for... My music stopped. That's ironically well-timed music. I'll just pivot into another playlist. Great. I need to go buy salad. I have not eaten a vegetable in 4 or 5 days. I've eaten nothing but like German sausages, pizza, burritos, tortilla chips, Nerds clusters, ranch water hard seltzers, beer, mojito. I've not eaten well. I have This fox boy has not eaten well in the last 5 days, and it is hitting me hard. Like today, I'm just like, I feel my dietary choices and they have caught up with me. And I need to go buy like a pre-made Caesar salad, jump into a bowl and just demolish it while watching some anime. In fact, that sounds like a great use of evening, honestly. So thank you everybody for joining me today to this recap of my travels and travails, mostly travels, a couple travails, diversions, etc., etc., etc. Again, Rimworld will be again on 10 a.m. Pacific time. I'll be returning to Rimworld and my dying, hopefully less dying colony. And otherwise, I hope everyone's enjoyed their Friday evening, enjoy the rest of your Friday evening and your weekend, and I will catch everybody next time I stream. Bye, everybody.